We've been talking about climate change for a long time, but as yet we haven't taken sufficient action. Last year, the International Panel on Climate Change produced a report looking at the impacts of 1.5 degrees of global warming. We're already at 1 degree. 1.5 degrees would make climate change dangerous. That means it would become unstoppable, out of human control. We could have tens of metres of sea level rise in the long term from melting of Greenland and the West Antarctic ice sheet. That would have major impacts, first in countries like Bangladesh, where I worked for around a year, but ultimately it'll come back to us. It'll affect London, our food supplies, our way of life. It will affect the future, literally, of life on Earth as we know it. So what we're calling for is a climate emergency to be declared here in Surrey. Why now? Why in Surrey? And why the local council, why the county council to take action? That's because it's not sufficient for the national government alone to be doing actions on climate change. It needs to be at all levels, from the government to local councils to ourselves in our communities. So we're calling on climate change first to be pledged as an important issue in Surrey by Surrey declaring it a climate emergency. Secondly, for Surrey to pledge that we are going to make a plan of how we're going to act on this issue in the next 12 years, to pledge to make Surrey carbon neutral by 2030. Thirdly, we're calling on the council to ask the government to consider providing the support and resources that we need to make that happen. And finally, this motion calls on the council to report back in 6 months with a plan of what we're going to do and how we're going to bring it about.